E'au Chaza is the Akkadian form of Yah watches. He is said to have marched off with all the 12 tribes of Israel, except for Judah and Levi. We have on the meme verses from 2 Kings, Isaiah, and 2 Chronicles. In the bottom right, we have a rather famous modern statue of Moloch. And in direct opposition to Leviticus 18:21, Ahaz had his son pass through the fire for Moloch, according to 2 Kings 16:3. 2 Chronicles 28:3 says it was his children. 2 Kings 16:18 says that the patterns of things in the temple were changed because of him. We find that he did astrology in the way that we think of the term astrology now. There was astrological observation to, sacrifice and stuff like that according to the patterns of the stars. Remember, a lot of our astrology comes from the Yazidi, and Moloch, or Malek Tauz, is in the peacock form, is where they get their current calendar. They go further back than that, but 2 Kings 16:9 talks about some of the taking of slaves and executing and sacking and conquering some areas. Isaiah 7:12 says that Ahaz wouldn't even agree to test God, but Isaiah in that chapter tells him that, hey, you're going to be tested whether you want to or not. And so we get to removing all but Leo and Pisces and becoming a vessel for the Sword of Undeath by Court of Ahaz. Ready for the fulfillment of the plan, she can't without the bare reaction that confines its shadow to her. Our own fleshly vessel is the offering of our purpose in life. The infernal mentality will draw in beings who are indifferent to mere humanity. The types and ranks of those with respite will respond to those who have proven themselves by blood. I myself have represented flesh and blood by gardenia and tarragon, bread and juice, chocolate and vanilla, and so on. The released is shaped by our words and symbols. The altered states will show their patterns to be lived out. In the Book of Mormon, Alma 5:9 speaks of the bands of death and chains of hell, but rather than vicarious reliance, we are free by our own efforts, and we are like Shasa, in our working of the bonds of death, and Narayana, in our use of our lower cosmic force, training tools, elemental expression, and tactical weapons. We are not broken like the Leviathan of Psalm 74:14. nor punished like in Isaiah 27:1, but are like a Yamaduta for those who haven't achieved moksha. Now, please. Unveiling the 28 realms of Naraka to their astral bodies. Like the Mushtama of Jubilees 10:8, 11:10, 17:15 to 16, and 48, 1 to 3. We may set aside a group to work upon a closely related vortex of the corrupt. Work a Dinger Fazuzu spiritual being like aerial affliction to observe the temptation of others, to take the side of nations other than the supposedly chosen are self-designated as righteous, and to not be in the constant mode of attack. So, all political or philosophical figures aside, we, more generally, black pill individuals into being beyond the impulses of life and regard of the ways of society. We red pill by working against it and vampirically feeding off the reactions. To our ascent. We also blue pill our secret work within to direct its mechanisms and our psychedelic modes of consciousness to present beings, those that were before we incarnated and will be after the coming horror of the transhumanistic actualization in its abysmal descent of stellar darkness. First, we accept death, and then we accept things that are beyond incarnating. Through the dark mirror, we encounter them beyond symbolism. Temporary forms may be manifested with the essences to make the visions understandable in terms of this realm. Those of old may have relied on the cross quarters, equinoxes, and solstices to visit the realms of these beings. Even if these or other sacred calendars may be more powerful, specifics don't have to be waited for the distorting transfer that begins to lift the projections upon the entry to the afterlife. You will find that Al-Quran Surah 7, Ayat 27 rings true about Satan and those beings like him watching us unseen. Witchcraft will open up a black hole in its practitioners as a similarity is formed between them and the demons who work with and track them. Finally, they might take possession to the point that it is like the human is no longer present. The bonfire is pushed further by awareness of these monsters and may attract physically incarnated beings that monitor them, but that doesn't deter them. They are becoming what ideologies, organizations, and mere statements of faith can't take them from in their intentions. The fallen and the shades continue past anything beyond intended upon their bodies. We connect to the memory, legacy, and energy of those that were, those that are, and those that are to come. Numbers 13:33 and Deuteronomy 2:10 indicates we meet the Hunplim Warpame. The usurpers and bearers. And we become to them as they regard us. Fritz Spingmeier spoke of 13 satanic bloodlines in his 1995 book, Bloodlines of Illuminati, and there are many accounts of alien abductees, but the reality will still leave us shocked at every level. We are serving a purpose and going on to alien realms of indifference to human clinging. We are transcending the death current and a life current with the great old ones to increase, end, and do away with. Ceremony is all well and good, but one of those before you will transfer what completes the process. From a choice comes a habit, comes a character, and becomes a destiny. We are beyond being an amalgamation of affirming or denying other paths. Take on a covenant where you set yourself free of former senses of morality and accept the possible consequences. Sleeve, woe, kilty. The zipty. Time will prove us and continually form us beyond what the mundanes will know. To them, we are just evil and the living dead. To us, we are the fleshly gates who see and move in darkness. After 3 sections, headed with an image of what reminds me of New Age aesthetic for so-called alternative medicine, someone holds a copy of Iron Gates before water with a military boat in the background. This issue otherwise references Temple of Blood material, and I don't know the reasoning why it was not listed as such. It may be time to perhaps slip into unrecognition or a lack of public activity with that and transfer beyond the name and sign. Then is an image of the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, to indicate the dark permanence. Then we have 2 more sections headed by that Mistress of Earth image to indicate our choice in the matter. After all, how many faiths had 5 pillars or 5 horizons that shaped its adherents? And so the first thing that the paper addressed was the cover of the blonde woman there. And of course, that image that I added color to in the bottom center is the image we're talking about. And I don't know how many rays of the sun were showing, or the fire, or whatever, with that Moloch statue, which is an odd choice considering some of the things that have been brought up. And what might it mean? Wasn't there a black bull form of Meliktaus and a snake form? And the peacock form was just, the more recent one. 21 is very much the Yazidi sacred number. And I added colors representing the experience of the state.